This is my review of Dr. Stone, Chapter 97, The Joy of Leadership. So right off the bat, this one panel on the third page, it's really concerning for me. It basically says that if the message was a threat, then it's having the opposite effect, and Senku is running headfirst at this mysterious Y-man. And Jen seems to realize something here. I think he realizes this might actually be a trap. All along we thought this was a warning, a threat, stay away, stop advancing, I'm going to kill you all. But this might have been a trap. He puts out the signal and they will find him. Either as a trap, where he gets all the information from them, and then he attacks their home base and re-kills everyone. This might not be the first settlement that's risen up. Or as a test, where if you can find him, then you are welcomed into his new city, his new paradise, his new utopia. And this has me wondering if maybe Senku is going to end up getting separated from the rest of them. And which I think would be a really interesting twist on what we've seen so far. The others have to use what they've learned from him over these years now in order to mount a rescue and save him. And what we see later in the chapter really seems to embrace that with Chrome. I mean, this is a teenage boy who, given the ability to see through things, immediately thinks of building a metal detector instead of seeing through clothes, unlike Ginro, who is the shame of the entire village. Jen and Ryu even seem to imply that Chrome may end up taking the role of the leader from Senku at some point. Probably not in a violent upbringing, but if Senku does get captured, if he does go on the boat, then Chrome would be the next leader for those who are left behind, and making sure that they're safe, that they're well fed, that science keeps advancing. I'd personally love to see just what happens without Senku for a little while. What can Chrome do? What can he manage to figure out with just what he's been given and the knowledge of the other modern dayers? A few other things I want to mention for this video. Senku said that he's building a massive steel engine for this boat, which I have a lot of questions about because we all saw the design, wow, that was a long time ago, for the boat he made, and it was a classic sailboat, which as far as I know do not have big-ass engines. A few different ideas of how we can make this work. I'm thinking maybe like you ever see those steam-powered ships with the turbines on the side? To like push him forward whenever he gets into a comm belt or something. I'm sure they're going to use the sails, the huge sails they've spent all that time making for parts of it. Also a little concerned that Chrome took the radar/sonar thing they made up into the mountains by himself. I get he had a plan, and a good plan that paid off, but there were a lot of hard-to-get components to make that thing, and it looks pretty fragile to me. I'm not really sure what he would have done if he accidentally broke it. And then we actually get to the mine, which again, I've said this before, but I really wish the author would just spend more time on these little sections. Like, how do you build a mine? What goes into that? I would have loved for Senku to explain the history of mining, how it happened. Seriously, what is this thing supposed to be? I mean, look at this. It seems to be some kind of man-powered automatic pickaxe machine that also seems to be electric-powered with people standing on it. I have no idea what this is supposed to be or if this is actually a real thing. I would have loved a chapter or two where they're just mining all this up and explaining, oh, this is how you mine, oh, you gotta do the curved steps, all that, but again, the author started off really explaining everything step by step, and I love that, but as we've advanced, a lot of things are just glossed over, and that really makes me sad, because it's one of the things I love most about this series. It's still an amazing series, but still. So finally, we got the resource network. Using the minecart they just created, which again, I would have loved to see them building all the tracks, laying it down for the minecart, but moving on. They're shipping iron back to the village, which they can take on boat to the oil fields or to the newer kingdom where more of the modern day people are who can process it into various things. I'm not entirely sure what they're going to do with this much iron. I mean, they literally made tracks out of it. It would be interesting if they started building some steel beamed houses, maybe things that would survive storms and other natural disasters a little bit better. And that's about it. So next week, they're going to use their massive supply of iron to advance to the next step of building the boat. It was said that the boat is basically finished except for the engine, so maybe next chapter or chapter after that, they're going to be able to set sail and find the Y Man and discover if this has all just been one crazy trap or test or whatever the freak it's supposed to be. But yeah, I do think in the end, Senku is going to be gone and they're going to have to learn how to deal without him. I think it's going to be really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing that. So until next week, peace.